Silence has always been misunderstood. In a world that rewards the loudest voices, we've been conditioned to believe that speaking up, pushing forward, and constantly being seen are the only ways to achieve success. But what if that's not true? What if real strength isn't in being heard, but in knowing when to stay silent? Think about the most powerful people you admire, the ones who command respect without demanding it. They don't need to prove their worth with words. They don't rush to defend themselves at every opportunity. They don't chase validation. Instead, they observe, they listen, and they move with precision. Their silence isn't a sign of weakness. It's a tool, a strategy, a mindset. When you stay silent, you create space to think, to understand, to process before reacting. Most people operate on impulse. They hear something they don't like, and they immediately defend themselves. They see an opportunity and they rush toward it without considering if it's right for them. They fill every moment with noise, thinking it will bring them closer to success. But the opposite is true. Silence allows you to assess the situation before you respond. It gives you the ability to read between the lines, to notice things others miss. It puts you in control because when you don't react emotionally, you force others to reveal themselves first. You gain the advantage. You move on your own terms. Look at the greatest leaders, the most successful entrepreneurs, the people who seem to move through life effortlessly. They don't waste energy proving themselves to people who don't matter. They don't overshare their plans, seeking validation before they even begin. They let their work do the talking. They let their results speak for themselves. That's the power of silence. It shifts the dynamic in your favor. When you are quiet, you become unpredictable. When you don't explain your every move, you become mysterious. And when you stop reacting to everything, you become untouchable. People often mistake silence for indifference, but that's not the case. Silence is focus. It's discipline. It's the ability to stay in control when others are losing theirs. It's the confidence to know that what is meant for you will come, not because you shouted the loudest, but because you prepared in silence. Have you ever noticed that the most desperate people talk the most? They try to impress, to convince, to force things to happen, but in doing so, they reveal their own insecurities. The strongest people don't need to do that. They move in silence, making progress while others are still talking. You don't need to announce your every step. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Stay silent. Work on yourself. Focus on what truly matters. And watch as everything starts falling into place. Naturally, effortlessly, in its own time, because the moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop explaining, is the moment the right things start finding their way to you. We live in a world that glorifies the chase. We're told that if we want something, we have to go after it relentlessly, push harder, move faster, and never stop until we get what we desire. But have you ever noticed that the more you chase something, the further it seems to slip away? The more you try to force things, the more resistance you meet? That's because what is truly meant for you doesn't require force. It comes naturally in its own time when you are ready for it. People often mistake waiting for passivity. They think if they aren't chasing, they aren't progressing. But there's a difference between chasing and preparing. The most successful people don't spend their time running after opportunities. They spend their time becoming the kind of person who attracts them. They focus on developing their skills, mastering their craft, and becoming the best version of themselves. And when the right opportunity comes, they are ready to receive it. When you force something that isn't meant for you, you create unnecessary struggle. You waste time and energy trying to hold on to things that aren't aligned with your path. You fight for relationships that drain you, jobs that don't fulfill you, and recognition from people who don't even matter. And in the process, you miss the things that are truly meant for you, the opportunities, the relationships, the success that would come effortlessly if only you had the patience to let them unfold. There's a reason why some of the best things in life happen unexpectedly. Think about it. The best relationships, the most fulfilling jobs, the greatest breakthroughs often come when you aren't looking for them. That's because instead of chasing, you were in a state of flow. You were doing what you love, improving yourself, and allowing things to align naturally. It's not about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about putting yourself in the right position mentally, emotionally, and physically so that when the right things arrive, you're prepared. It's about trusting that the effort you put in today will create results in the future, even if you can't see them yet. Desperation repels, confidence attracts. When you're desperate for something, you send out the message that you lack it, that you're incomplete without it. But when you trust that what is meant for you will come, you operate from a place of peace. You become magnetic. The right people, the right opportunities, the right circumstances start finding you. Think about the strongest, most respected people you know. They aren't the ones constantly chasing approval or success. They are the ones who work in silence, who build themselves up without seeking permission, and who trust that their value will be recognized in time. They move with purpose, not with panic. It's easy to get impatient, to feel like nothing is happening, like you're falling behind. But what if instead of forcing, you focused on becoming? What if instead of chasing, you prepared? What if you trusted that what is truly meant for you will come, not because you ran after it, but because you became the person who was ready to receive it? Everything you seek is already seeking you. Stay silent, stay focused, and trust that when the time is right, it will come naturally. Most people listen to respond, not to understand. They hear just enough to form a reply, waiting for their turn to speak rather than truly absorbing what's being said. But listening, really listening, is one of the most powerful tools you can develop. It allows you to see beyond words, to understand intent, to read between the lines, where the truth often lies. Silence gives you that advantage. When you stay quiet and listen, you gather information others miss. You notice the hesitation in someone's voice, the contradiction in their words, the insecurity behind their confidence. You start to see patterns, recognize opportunities, and avoid mistakes that others make simply because they weren't paying attention. People reveal who they are not just by what they say, but by what they don't. The person who talks the most often gives away their weaknesses, their fears, their doubts. But the one who listens carefully, who absorbs everything before responding, holds the power. Because knowledge is power, and the best way to gain knowledge is not by speaking, but by listening. Think about the most respected leaders, the people who command attention without demanding it. They don't dominate conversations. They don't rush to fill silence. They let others talk, revealing their thoughts, their motivations, their needs. And when they do speak, it carries weight because it comes from a place of understanding, not just reaction. When you listen, you build deeper connections. People are drawn to those who make them feel heard. In a world full of noise, being someone who truly listens makes you stand out. It makes you someone others trust, respect, and confide in, and trust opens doors that words alone never could. Listening also protects you. How many times have people spoken too soon, made promises they couldn't keep, or exposed themselves simply because they weren't patient enough to wait? The more you listen, the less likely you are to say something you'll regret, to commit to something that doesn't serve you, or to walk into situations blind. Silence gives you time to think. It allows you to respond with intention rather than impulse. When you don't react emotionally, when you pause before speaking, you maintain control. Not just over the conversation, but over yourself. You don't get pulled into unnecessary arguments. You don't waste energy proving yourself, and you don't let others dictate your narrative. It's not about staying silent forever. It's about knowing when to speak and when to listen. It's about understanding that your words carry more weight when they are backed by knowledge, observation, and wisdom. The person who listens the most learns the most. The person who listens the most wins the most. In every conversation, in every situation, you have a choice. You can be the one filling space with noise, or you can be the one absorbing, learning, and positioning yourself for success. Choose wisely, because those who master the art of listening will always have the upper hand. Most people spend their lives reacting. They see something, they respond. They hear something, they react. They move without thinking, without intention, without purpose. And in doing so, they give away their power. They chase opportunities that aren't right for them. They force relationships that drain them. They jump at every distraction, mistaking movement for progress. But the strongest people don't move out of desperation. They don't act just to prove they're doing something. They move with purpose. Every action is intentional. Every step is calculated. They understand that doing more doesn't always mean achieving more. It's not about how fast you move, but how effectively. Desperation makes you settle. It makes you say yes to things that don't align with who you are just because you're afraid of missing out. It makes you compromise your values, lower your standards, and chase things that aren't meant for you. But when you move with purpose, you don't settle for just anything. You wait for what's right. You focus on the long term, not just the immediate. When you're always reacting, you become controlled by everything around you. A bad day throws you off. A negative comment derails your focus. Someone else's opinion dictates your self-worth. But when you move with purpose, none of that matters. You don't let outside noise distract you because you're focused on something bigger. You don't waste energy proving yourself to people who will never understand your vision. You don't let short-term emotions dictate long-term decisions. The most successful people didn't get there by doing everything at once. They got there by knowing what mattered most and focusing on it relentlessly. They moved with intention. They knew that real success doesn't come from reacting. It comes from strategy, patience, and discipline. Look at the difference between someone who is desperate and someone who is purposeful. The desperate person is constantly searching, constantly chasing, constantly unsure. But the purposeful person moves differently. They are calm. They are steady. They don't rush because they know everything will come at the right time. People respect those who move with confidence, not those who move with panic. When you trust yourself, when you stop making decisions out of fear, you start attracting better opportunities, better people, better results. You start realizing that you don't need to chase what's meant for you. It will come when you're ready. So stop reacting, stop forcing, stop moving just for the sake of moving. Instead, focus, be intentional, move with purpose, not desperation. Because when you do, you'll find that everything you've been chasing will start coming to you naturally. People spend so much time explaining, justifying, and proving themselves. They believe that if they talk enough, if they make their case clear, if they convince others of their worth, they will gain respect, validation, and success. But the truth is, the more you explain, the more you dilute your power. The more you try to prove yourself with words, the less people believe in what you're saying. Because real impact isn't about what you say, it's about what you do. The strongest, most respected people in the world don't waste time making promises or defending their worth. They don't argue with those who doubt them. They don't announce their plans before they've taken action. They let their work, their results, and their success speak for them. They understand that words can be ignored, but results cannot be denied. People believe what they see, not what they hear. You can tell the world how great you are, but until your actions match your words, no one will truly listen. That's why those who stay silent and focus on execution always win in the end. They don't seek validation. They don't waste energy convincing those who will never understand. They pour everything into mastering their craft, into delivering results so undeniable that no one can question them. Have you ever noticed that the people who talk the most often accomplish the least? They announce their plans, seek approval, and constantly look for reassurance. But those who are truly making moves are too busy working to explain themselves. They don't need to be seen talking about success because they are too focused on creating it. When you let your actions speak, you eliminate doubt. There's no need to justify, no need to explain, no need to debate. People can see the truth in what you do. Your consistency, your discipline, your results become your voice. And that voice is far louder than any words you could ever say. The most powerful presence in any room isn't the one talking the loudest. It's the one who moves with quiet confidence, the one who listens more than they speak, the one who doesn't need attention to feel valuable. That kind of presence draws people in. It makes them curious. It makes them respect you without you having to demand it. The world respects those who produce results, not those who seek validation. It respects those who work in silence and emerge victorious. The moment you stop explaining and start executing is the moment everything changes. People won't need to hear your words, they'll see your success, and that will be enough. So don't waste time proving yourself to those who don't believe in you. Don't explain your moves before you make them. Don't defend your worth with words. Instead, stay silent. Work harder. Build yourself and let the results speak so loudly that no explanation is ever needed. Most people believe they have to chase everything they want in life. They think success, happiness, and fulfillment come only through constant pursuit. But the truth is, what is truly meant for you doesn't need to be forced. The right opportunities, the right people, the right moments, they come naturally when you are ready. When you stop chasing and start becoming, everything starts falling into place. Look at the moments in your life when things felt effortless, when opportunities aligned, when people showed up at the right time, when success came without force. That wasn't luck. That was alignment. You were in the right mindset, in the right state, doing the right things without even realizing it. You weren't desperate. You weren't forcing. You were simply in flow. And that's the key. When you trust that what's meant for you will come, you stop making decisions from fear. You stop accepting less than you deserve. You stop forcing relationships that don't serve you. You stop chasing things that aren't meant for you. Instead, you focus on becoming the best version of yourself. You develop your skills. You build your value. You grow into the person who naturally attracts the success, love, and fulfillment you seek. Think about the people who seem to have everything flow effortlessly to them. They don't chase, they attract. They don't force, they prepare. They don't panic, they trust. They know that if something is right for them, it will come at the right time. They understand that real success isn't about running after things, but about being in the right place mentally, emotionally, and physically, so that when the right things arrive, they're ready. Desperation creates resistance. The more you chase, the more things slip away. But confidence creates attraction. When you trust yourself, when you know your worth, when you focus on growth rather than desperation, the right things start gravitating toward you. You become magnetic to the opportunities, people, and moments that align with who you are becoming. It's not about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about shifting your focus from chasing to attracting. Instead of begging for opportunities, become so skilled that opportunities seek you. Instead of forcing relationships, become so whole that the right people are drawn to you naturally. Instead of trying to prove yourself, Let your results speak. When you do this, everything you've been chasing starts moving toward you effortlessly. This is how life works when you stop forcing and start trusting, when you move with confidence instead of fear, when you let go of desperation and embrace patience, when you believe that what is meant for you will always find its way to you, not because you chased it, but because you became ready for it. Stay silent, stay focused, and let everything come to you naturally.